are you as voters, I mean, particularly Democratic voters, why in the name of everything holy would you want more power? Why would you want to give more power to the idiots running our country? I mean, this massive $3.5 trillion spending spree is not only about to light a ton of money on fire and flush the ashes down the toilet, but it also gives our DC overlords so much power. I mean, a ton of power. When in the history of ever, I don't know, ever in the history of mankind has ever given the government more power been a good idea? I'm serious about this. When the government expands, they take your rights. They take our rights. And they never give it back. They never turn it over after a conflict or a catastrophe. They just keep it. But they don't do it overnight. It's creeping gradualism, little by little. It's like boiling a lobster. They raise a tax on your vehicle by 0.5%. They tack on a toll here. They add another small government department for oversight. Stuff like this. I mean, look, in my hometown, you have to get a license for your dog now. It's just ludicrous. It originally cost you $10. People push back on it. And the town government just said, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just $10, blah, blah, blah. Now, I mean, here we are a few years later. There are now 3 licenses to have a dog, and it costs you $100. See how that works? The thing about this, and I've said this before, especially on this program, we fought the Revolutionary War over a 2.5% tax hike in a breakfast beverage. Okay? So little by little, the government has boiled up to a point where many folks pay half their income in taxes. If you own a business now, you pay 30%, maybe 20% if you're lucky, of your profit to the government. Then you pay another 30 to 50% of that, of your pay, on top of that, to the government. Then you have property taxes, you have vehicle taxes. In many states like Connecticut, you have sales tax, and it all adds up. I mean, the average working person, if you add all this up, is basically working for free, or for the government, from January to like July. Think about that. Now they want to raise it even more to pay for their ridiculous, I mean, that's what it is, a ridiculous $3.5 trillion spending bill that goes way, way beyond any type of reasonable spending. Now, Democrats, they honestly feel that all the inequities in society are due to the fact that we're not spending enough money, I guess. Their solution for everything is more government. Now, Democrats always put a plan in place, and when it doesn't work, well, maybe more government will help solve it. Maybe if we do more of the same. But in a private company, for example, if you run an ad, like if you're running an advertising campaign to sell a product, and you sell 0 product, you reevaluate your message. You don't keep running the same commercial. Nope, not Democrats. More cowbell. No matter how broken the bell is, more cowbell. And now they want to burn another $3.5 trillion of our money on, well, tons of dumb stuff. Despite all the pushback, even from their own party, they want to ram this down our throats. Now, the spending is one thing, but regulations contained in this bill are real scary, okay? The IRS is going to get tens of billions of dollars to hire new agents to enforce a slew of new rules. One of which is giving blanket warrants to investigate any transaction over $600 for any reason. Now, as we've seen from the recent IRS behavior, you'll be guilty until proven innocent. The IRS already has unilateral control over your bank account without a warrant. They don't even need to go to court for this. They can seize assets, they can freeze assets, they can take money without any due process. They can just say, oh, you owe us money, and take it. Without a guilty verdict, mind you. I mean, that's a lot of power. Thousands more agents just to go sit around and do the exact same thing doesn't sit right with me. I mean, like, for instance, like you want to pay your plumber cash, let's say. Better be under $600, because if they find you, they're going to want to know what that's for. Want to pull out $1,000 to go on vacation? Well, you better have an answer for the IRS on why. Doesn't that seem weird to you? This is all coming from the same people, by the way, who called the Trump administration a bunch of authoritarians. Think about this. The government wants to audit every transaction of yours with your money, but Pelosi wants us to support a $3.5 trillion spending bill without actually reading it? I mean, see why my resolve is that we are governed by a bunch of power-hungry morons? Now, this bill covers a slew of other things. Red flag laws, which another way to circumvent due process, where anyone anonymously can complain that you're a risk. Your neighbor, your ex-wife, your whatever, can go and say, call the cops and say, hey, I don't feel safe. That guy's a risk. The cops will come and take your guns. And then you have to hire a lawyer, you have to go to court, and you have to prove you're innocent. The government doesn't have to prove you're guilty. You have to prove you're innocent. Why would you want your government to have that kind of power? I mean, why? When has anything good ever come of that? Also in this bill is the ability to, without a warrant, by the way, track your cell phone if they think you might be affiliated with a crime. If you're in the vicinity of a crime, they can just go and get the details on your cell phone and find out where you were. I feel like that's a Fourth Amendment violation, but the Democrats' view on government is exactly why our founding fathers put certain provisions in the Constitution. And if you resist this garbage, the Democrats, they only say, this is the rally cry, I love this. They say, oh, only people who are guilty of crimes wouldn't want to be transparent with the government. Right. This is insane. The right to remain silent does not insinuate guilt. The Fourth and Fifth Amendment are non-negotiable. The government needs to prove a reason to violate those rights. You don't need to prove a reason to keep your privacy. Now look, for 4 years under Trump, all the liberals said was resist. I mean, what the hell were they resisting? I don't know. Lower taxes, booming job market, less government. Well, now it's our turn. It's time to get loud, folks. Raise hell at your town meetings, get to the polls, flood the inboxes of your representatives, because it's time to get loud. Don't forget that.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.